Welcome to the Nonprofit Network. The show is called I Have Something to Say. I'm Gabriel Buelna, and today we're going to be talking about the Southwest Museum, this important museum here in Los Angeles, and how potentially it's been under attack here in Southern California. And today we're here talking with Ann Walnum. Just for the audience, explain who Ann is. Ann is a lifetime educator, worked for the Baldwin Park Unified School District, is a violin teacher, teaches piano. But more than anything, if you're in Northeast Los Angeles, which is a large part of Los Angeles, you know that Ann is fighting for you and the interest of future generations. How are you doing, Ann?
I feel overwhelmed. I'm not usually modest, but thank you.
Are you being humble today, Ann?
Trying.
Okay, this is not the time to be humble. We're excited about talking about the issue of the Southwest Museum. Tell me a bit about the Southwest Museum. Give the audience a bit of a history on this great treasure that we have here.
First of all, in terms of treasure, Southwest Museum is considered the second best Indian museum in the United States, second only to the Smithsonian. It's also considered the very best museum in the world relating to the Southwest of the United States. The Southwest Museum was formed in 1907. The building was completed in 1914. It was the foremost museum for many years. The LA County Museum of Natural History has paralleled Southwest's development. Southwest used to say, we have never received any public funds. And in a way, that's the tragedy.
Now,
because
I'm sorry to cut you
Sure.
off, but tell me about the founder of the museum was Charles Loomis.
Charles Lummis.
Tell me about Charles Lummis.
Charles Lummis was a most unusual person who came to Southern California walking across the country to accept a job at the LA Times. He influenced the culture of Southern California through his writings, through his administration. He was librarian for the city of Los Angeles for 5 years. He was an archaeologist who formed a branch of the American Archaeological Association, which became Southwest Museum in 1907. The early exhibition places of Southwest Museum were what used to be the May Company and what used to be the Pacific Electric Building. Lummis chose the site of Southwest Museum on a hill. For me, it's the bottom of the hill because I live at the top of Mount Washington. For people driving by, it looks like it's the top of the hill. It's a remarkable location with a view to the west, to the east, all directions. The building was planned as a place for Lummis's collections of archaeological and ethnographic material. It also began with several significant collections of other early scientists. It had wonderful scientific explorations in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. It amassed the greatest archaeological collection of Southern California that has ever been assembled. Those are not art objects. Those are being dismissed.
Is the Southwest Museum functioning right now?
The Southwest Museum is only functioning as a warehouse for the benefit of Autry National Center. Autry National Center assumed the museum in May of 2003.
Now let's stop right there. So before 2003, the Southwest Museum was an independent museum.
Yes.
Okay. So in 2003, for the audience, the Gene Autry Museum took the museum over. Did the board of the Southwest Museum allow this to happen?
They wanted it to happen.
They wanted it to happen.
They wanted it to happen. The board members who were most responsible for this happening are now members of the Autry board. One of them, Tom Lee, is the president of the Autry board. Those of us in the community view this as a loss of our treasure and a slap in the face of the community.
For residents in Southern California, they'll say, well, what does it matter if the Autry has the materials and not the Southwest Museum? Why should anyone really, why is this an issue?
The biggest issue is that Autry has a very extensive holding of cowboy artifacts. They've recently acquired Roy Rogers' saddle. They have that on display in their lobby. Autry's programs have been primarily oriented to their cowboy interests among their members. What will happen is the Indian aspect of the Southwest Museum collection will be diluted. The Southwest Museum itself had halls to represent the Northwest Coast Indians, the Plains Indians, the Southwestern Indians, the basketry of California, and then a very large room for changing exhibits.
Now,
the Southwest Museum had wonderful programs, and a lot of this has been lost. A lot of it will continue to be lost.
Now, I think what I'm hearing you say is that the Southwest Museum, with its focus on Native American, and you told me in our green room that there was a lot of Mexican art and Mexican history. So is the archery fully engaging that Mexican American, and Native American history at the archery? Are they doing that?
At the current time, not really. Not with any permanent exhibit. The archery will be celebrating the return of the Siqueiros mural on Alvera Street, but in terms of ongoing programming, ongoing exhibits, it will never be the way it was with Southwest Museum.
In Mount Washington, you have artists and musicians, and you have a great combination of people in the Northeast. And what grabbed my attention was that this museum that could be the center of attention is empty. You don't see that many people walking into it. And this is one of those things where if you come to Southern California, you should be coming to the Southwest Museum. So if you're angry that this museum is not grabbing the amount of attention that it should be, what do you do? And what are you doing, Anne? And what happened in 2003 to protect us from this?
I have a lot of responses. The first one, 2003, our Friends of Southwest Museum Coalition was formed. There had been previous organizations fighting to retain Southwest Museum because in 1987, when Autry Museum came online, there were those who felt the two museums should merge. We in the community who formed a Save Our Southwest Society, which then became Friends of Southwest Museum Coalition 15 years later, felt this was an insult to our community, to the hard work that had gone into the museum. In 2003, our coalition helped the museum as much as we could. We wanted to show the Autry management, with John Gray as its president, that Northeast Los Angeles was a viable place for a museum. The Gold Line had just opened. We had to host 2 or 3 receptions because Autry National Center was not going to pay for those receptions. They weren't going to pay for the outreach to their members to notify people of these exhibits. We helped with Intertribal Marketplace. It was very successful that year.
And sorry to cut you off, but we only have a few more minutes. You have a petition here because I want to make sure that the audience knows what is going on and what they can do to get involved in bringing this debate. And in sense of fairness, we will invite representatives from the Gene Autry Museum to answer some of the questions on the Southwest Museum and how they're going to make sure it gets back to what it deserves. But Anne, what do you have here?
Well, number one, the museum is not empty. The museum has been used as a warehouse for 6 years. There's a conservation effort of the artifacts, which is going very well. We can compliment Autry on that. We cannot compliment them on the fact that they've done something very clever to save their money by using the museum as a warehouse. Second, this petition is addressed to the Attorney General. In 2003, a merger agreement went through review by the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General did not pick up on the fact that donor restrictions were not listed, did not pick up on the fact that Autry's finances were misrepresented as being $100 million when that was only Jackie Autry's will, did not pick up on the fact that already at the time of the merger, Autry National Center had effected a cutback in Southwest Museum programming.
We have 60 seconds.
Okay.
In these 60 seconds, we have this petition that can they go to Friends of the Southwest Museum.com.
Friends of Southwest Museum, Friends of the Southwest Museum Coalition. .com.
And we'll put the correct address online so they can find all that information. Tell us, are our elected officials doing their job in supporting this museum?
In a very half-hearted way.
Who's doing a good job?
Councilman Huizar.
So Councilman Jose Huizar is doing a good job.
Yes.
Okay. And you're not mentioning any other names?
This city council has a rule of not interfering with other council people's issues.
Okay.
So that is operating
So
at
our
this level.
city councilman, Councilman Jose Huizar of the 14th district here in Los Angeles, is doing a good job. And you have this petition to the Attorney General, who is now campaigning for governor,
Yes.
Mr. Jerry Brown, to do something on the issue. Are we going to get this museum back to its glory and where it should be to help this entire community as a center of the community?
I wish I could say yes.
Is that where it should be, Ann?
Of course not.
It
yes should be what it should be.
It should be
Yes,
at the center. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the audience about this issue and making sure that it gets back on track to make and save it for future generations? This is your time to say something that you would like.
Autry National Center has not played fair with the community, with the city, with archaeologists, with scientists. They've made it seem as if this is only an art museum. They've made it seem as if the museum was terribly, terribly run down. And they even insulted us by saying, this is a museum that was only run by volunteers. That should be a positive. But John Gray stated that as a negative.
We thank you, Ann Walnum, for coming
My pleasure.
on the show. And to the audience, my last 30-second rant here is that in Northeast Los Angeles, and Los Angeles in general, where the economy is down, we need every opportunity, especially in communities of the Northeast Los Angeles, and especially in a museum like the Southwest Museum that focused on Mexican American and Native American art and protect the institutions that are doing good. We challenge the Autry National Museum to come on this show and talk about what they will do to bring the museum to the glory that it deserves and that residents have a right to. This has been Gabriel Buelna with the Nonprofit Network. Visit our site, post your jobs. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
How was that?